Hey Red Lipstick Club, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hey, welcome, hit subscribe. I talk about everything reality TV, but we definitely focus here on Sister Wives, and right now I'm doing The Golden Bachelor, and it has been absolutely worth it. If you're coming back, thanks guys for coming back, entertaining this little side thing I'm doing with The Golden Bachelor. I'm just loving it and loving sharing it, and I just think it's such a great concept. So if you haven't tuned into the show, hey, stop the tape. Go back, watch the episode. There's only been 3 episodes, so it's super easy to catch up. And if you only just maybe want a recap, you can check my playlists out and catch up with the ones I've already done. Without further ado, you guys, we got to talk about episode 3 of The Golden Bachelor. So I did get a chance to go back to the watch party, which I am loving. I went live from the watch party for episode 2 and was able to chat with you guys. But this time I wanted to really focus in and watch the show because I knew I wouldn't have as much time to watch it again. And I wanted to make sure I was able to get a review out for you guys. So episode 3, we're not down to 12 women, which happened pretty quickly. And there was a couple of people that went home last week. And, I don't remember her name, but one of the young women had an emergency at home. And so she had to basically exit the show. And she wasn't even in the rose ceremony. She's the one that was wearing the sari. I don't remember her name, but she wasn't around unfortunately long enough for me to remember it. But she left early. So there's only 12 women left for episode 3. Teresa was the one that got the solo date last week. And if you can remember, it was the date where they were on a speeding LA highway and they put this poor man in a little bitty convertible and said, good luck, get to your destination. Well, they ended up getting there and they had a cute little diner date and a whole dancing and flash mob, I guess you could say. And it seemed like they had a great time and they had a really great connection. So now they're all getting together in the morning and they're kind of talking about what's happening, people having feelings. And Teresa talks about how she got the first date, but that he's made connections not just with her, but with a lot of the other women as well. And I think it's because Gerry's like an empath. Like you can tell he feels things really deeply and is feeling everything that these women are throwing at him. And as I told you last week, it's also feeling kind of like a trauma bond show because a lot of these women are widows and he's widowed as well. And so it seems to be a consistent conversation that's happening on almost every interaction he has with these women. It's surrounding being a widow. It's really sad, but I guess I could see connecting that way because you kind of understand what the other person is going through. But for the viewing audience, baby, it's putting me through it, okay? So after they have this little chat, and they're kind of creating they're kind of clicking off a little bit. Like there's groups of girls that are, it's funny to call them girls because they're like old enough to be my mom, but I'm gonna keep them youthful. So these girls get together and they're creating little cliques. And girl Kathy, you guys know I wanted Kathy to go home last week. This is the one that looks exactly like Caitlyn Jenner. She drives me, she's comic relief, but she's a shit stirrer. And she's really not my cup of tea. And I just, honestly, you guys, I don't see this man being at all attracted to, connected to in any way to this woman. I feel like they're keeping her around because it creates drama. And you'll see why I'm saying that as I talk more about this episode. So now they're going to do a big group date. I don't know how this is considered a date because it's a talent show. I don't know how a talent show with a huge studio audience watching you and judges constitutes a date. I don't know how you're getting to really know each other by this, but okay. So they're going to have this big talent show. Now, I will say this women had a lot of talent, way more talent than I assumed they would have. Not even assume, but that I felt like they would express on TV and comfortably do it. And I noticed that a lot of them, you could feel like they just kind of put any shyness aside and said, I'm trying to get this man. It's crazy what a woman will do when they have the mission and they want a man. Like the tunnel vision was real. They were like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get this guy. I don't care. I will create a talent if it means that I'm going to get this guy. Our Chris Jenner lookalike broke like a wooden board, did karate or taekwondo and broke a board with her foot. It was pretty serious. Now, oh girl, I gotta find her name. It is, she's Leslie, the fitness instructor. So, everyone thinks she's like the hot one or whatever. And she knows it. She knows what she's doing. She decides she's going to do this whole dance routine, this whole sexy routine, and like brings him on the stage. She's doing the most, right? If you see the women's faces that are watching her, it's like they're in shock, and they're like, you know how you're thinking to yourselves, well, all men really want is sex. So if she's using that, she's going to win just because of that. I mean, I don't think there was a great level of talent, even though she says I was a professional dancer at one point. I didn't see skills that rang professional dancer to me. Maybe somebody that has slight rhythm, and knows she's sexy and attractive and uses that to get what she wants. But it didn't really seem like some great level of talent. But she really thought that she was going to take that home, right? Like you could not tell Leslie she wasn't going to win. And the faces of everybody is hilarious. So Joan, who I think Joan is really cute. She has like long blonde hair. She kind of looks like, if you've ever been to Arizona, she looks like a Scottsdale mom, or a Scottsdale like really hot grandma. That's like the perfect example of Joan for me. And Joan's like, I don't have any talent. Like, what am I going to do? So Joan writes a poem. It's so cute. The poem was called, I Just Hope I Don't Vomit on Your Shoes. And it rhymed, and it was just really sweet and endearing. And of course, Gerry loved it because he loves those things. And she ends up being the overall winner, and she gets a solo date. So she's in a stunning gown. They end up having a one-on-one dinner. They really get to know each other. And this is when she kind of mentions how she's like dealing with like her daughter or something, and how she was really choosing herself to come to the show, and there was stuff going on at home, but she still left. And I'm noticing that as well to be a trend among these women. And I think that's the difference between a show featuring a lot of younger people and a show featuring older people that have family that they're accountable to or responsible for. It is definitely different. And I'm noticing some of these women are dropping like flies off the show because they have a lot of family issues back home. So even if they're together, their family stuff is causing them a lot of stress. Unfortunately, Joan is another one. Excuse me, guys. So he ends up giving Joan a rose at this date they have that she won. And I was like, you know what? She's really sweet. He seems really into her. He seemed really happy. The next day, she gets a text from a family member, and it seems like as an emergency to her, and she has to tend to it. So she ends up leaving the show, and he's like basically heartbroken. Like, you could tell that he really thought she might be one of his tops, and just to have the rug pulled from underneath you, having nothing to do with what you did, but because she has problems at home. I feel like he honestly probably dodged a bullet, because who knows how bad those issues are and how he would be influenced by that if they got into a relationship. You got to think about those things when you start bringing people into your lives. Like, do you want to deal with everything that comes with them? And I mean everything. And this show is basically like a honeymoon, a month-long honeymoon. So you're not really seeing what their real lives are actually like. So it might have been a blessing in disguise for him. But Joan ends up leaving the show, y'all. Tragic. I really liked her. I thought she was really sweet. So already down to 11 women before the show is even over. They move on again. Now he's doing another date. And so he takes, what's her name? I'm going to get it, y'all. He takes, not Joan, he takes Ellen. Ellen is very feisty. Ellen is the one that had the friend that's like dealing with cancer, and she's like going on the show for the both of them because they both watched The Bachelorette together and The Bachelor together. And she's like really excited about that. And she's like I think it's like a pickleball captain or something. Like, she loves pickleball. She's very active. So he takes her on like a princess date where she gets dressed by a designer picked out for her. She looks stunning. It's like fuchsia pink with like a big bow, and very material girl. Like, she looks really cute, really pretty. And so he takes her out. They do this whole date. He gets her like these diamond earrings as a gift. She gets to go up on a hot air balloon ride. I mean, it's like fairy tale moment. And then he ends up giving her a rose as well. So one thing I'm not liking about this show, and you guys, I have never watched The Bachelor, so I don't know if this is something that normally happens, but I don't like how many roses are being given out while the show is happening. I want to wait till the end. I want him to experience these dates, go through that process, date somebody else, go through that, and then at the end of the show, once you've done all of that, then decide who you're giving the rose to. Because when he's giving it out right away, process of elimination, You know, all these other women, now they have to go through the whole rest of the time knowing that they're already 3 roses down before they even get to the rose ceremony. I don't understand that. Maybe 1 rose giveaway, but this man didn't give away 1, not 2. He gave away 3 roses before the rose ceremony. And y'all aren't going to believe how the 3rd one happened. So Teresa's thinking Kathy, Caitlyn Jenner, mini Caitlyn Jenner, Kathy. Teresa's trying to actually convince herself that this is going to be an ally for her. This is somebody she can actually go talk to, tell her feelings to, you know, divulge all her stuff to. Well, guess what, sweetie? She's not the one. She's going to Kathy. She's telling Kathy how she's kind of feeling about everything. I know, I thought I made a connection. Basically, she's telling way too much of her business and what's happened between her and Gerry. Well, as we have seen, Kathy is a very jealous person, has very low self-esteem, although she'll never admit that. And so now she's mad because she's thinking, Teresa's basically telling her, you're a throwaway. He's not worried about you. I've already made a connection. You can go ahead and pack your stuff and go. That's not what Teresa said. You can tell Teresa's a very sweet woman. She isn't trying to hurt anybody. But yeah, is she running her mouth too much? Sure. But there's a nice, easy way to tell her, hey, Teresa, I'm trying to work on my own connection with him. And I totally get that you're expressing yourself because there's a lot of emotions going on. But you telling me those things, honestly, just doesn't help me with my personal self-esteem and what I have going on with him. I just would appreciate if you kept that to yourself. I know you don't mean any harm, but keep it to yourself. That's all she had to say. But she had to make a big deal, act like she was a victim. And Kathy went crying to Gerry during a cocktail hour that they all had and told him that there's been daggers at her and they've been coming at her, which is a total lie. You guys, at the watch party, everybody in the room like audibly gasped and said, what? When she said that that people have had daggers for her and that people have been against her, because it's a total fabrication of what we've seen. Then she basically threw Teresa under the bus in so many words without saying her name and was basically saying that this person said they have this connection with you, so on and so forth. There's only so many women that have had a decent amount of time with him. So by process of elimination, Gerry would be able to kind of figure out what was going on. So obviously that kind of throws him off a little bit. So then Kathy comes back because remember when Kathy made Gerry feel bad. And so he ends up giving her a rose because she's crying, fake crying. When she walks back in the room, you guys, when I tell you the woman didn't have a tear in her eye, it was totally staged. She staged this. She preyed on Gerry's empathy to get a rose from him and staged her whole breakdown. It was narcissism 101. It was crazy to witness. So then she comes in, she says what she had been talking about, and Teresa's like, hey, can I talk to you? And she's like, is this about me? Like, what's going on? And she basically goes off on Teresa about the whole situation. Poor Teresa's like devastated. She's like, what? Like, I wasn't trying to do anything bad. Like, I was just kind of expressing my feelings. She ends up going in her back room. She's crying. Sweet Faith goes in after her like, oh my God, like Kathy is tripping. And then Kathy just plays boo-boo the fool. Like she didn't know that she had tried to hurt this woman's feelings. Like, oh, I guess she's upset now. It was unreal, you guys. Gerry ends up coming in. He ends up going into the room to talk to Teresa, kind of calms her down a little bit because he's like, I was kind of shocked that she said Teresa was the person that had daggers for her. She seemed very sweet and genuine. That seems a little bit off. So she basically was setting it up because she knew Teresa did have a connection with him and she was trying to set it up to get her kicked out the show. Like she knew exactly what she was doing, y'all. Kathy knew exactly what she was doing. So they get to the rose ceremony. At this point now, they're only down to a few roses left. And the women that were sent home were Edith, who had the silvery gray hair, who was stunning. I'm like, definitely should have kept Edith. And then he also sends home, oh, what's the other one? I don't remember. I want to say like, I don't know, Christy. Girl, I don't even know the woman's name. So I could see why she got sent home. But another blonde lady, nice, sweet lady. But anywho, she went home. But Teresa was saved. She was like the last rose. She got the last rose, even though Kathy tried to sabotage her. And then at the end, Kathy's like talking to Teresa. It's like, oh yeah, he's such a good guy. And I think Teresa, you know, is like co-signing it. But you can just tell Kathy is not done. Like, Baby, Kathy is going to get these women out one by one, and this man's going to end up with Caitlyn Jenner and not know why. It is that bad, y'all. If you're missing this show, listen. I know The Bachelor might not be the thing for you, even if you never watched it. Believe me, y'all, it was not the thing for me. I've never watched it before. But when I tell you how entertaining it is to watch these 60-plus-year-old women try to get this man, and the riggery that is happening to make it happen is crazy to me. It is crazy. Gotta watch it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for my review of the episode. Definitely you should tune in. It is on Thursday nights on ABC. And then it does stream the next day. If you can't catch it on Thursdays, it does stream on Fridays on Hulu if you have Hulu. So without further ado, thanks for sharing, you guys. Like the video. Comment below. Let me know who you think should go home next, or who you think is going to win. Who's your top 3 if you've been watching the show? Put it in the comments, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can come back and talk with me. Until next time, you guys, thanks for stopping by. Bye.